Oh, fuck. August 8th, 2014. As of posting this video, it will have been 9 years, 2 months, and 23 days since a certain indie developer published a game that would change something in me forever. Hey guys, my name is Scotty, and I want to, in my own words, talk about an era where the game in question, FNAF, thrived as an indie horror game. To talk about how FNAF initially peaked, how it changed my perspective of gaming, as well as many others. And that even after the absolute fucking degeneracy that the fanbase has conformed to, the game still holds a special place in my heart. A place in my heart that will remain unchanged till the day I die. And so, I want to give a big salute to the game we all know and love, Five Nights at Freddy's. I assume that you, the viewer watching, know what FNAF is. And if you still don't, after all these years, then what are you even doing? To help with your willful ignorance, essentially, FNAF started out as an indie horror game conceived by a singular developer by the name of Scott Cawthon. At the time before the first game was released, FNAF was merely an idea through one of Scott's most previous games, Chipper & Sons Lumber Co. See, before FNAF was ever even thought of, Scott made other games before, unsuccessful games, or at least not as successful as his tried and true masterpiece. After receiving mixed reviews on this game, where people were commenting on how the characters resembled creepy robotic dolls, Scott came up with an idea that derived from these comments. If his characters looked like creepy robotic dolls, then why not make a game about creepy robotic dolls? Or, rather, animatronics. And that is how FNAF was made. Seems like such a simple way in which the game was created. And I also find it awe-inspiring that Scott continued to make games even after all the other not-so-successful attempts. It's inspiring in a way as a means to not give up, and looking back on it now, that's probably one of many reasons I respect the game. No matter how demoralized Scott was with his previous other games, he didn't let this shake him, and decided to use those negative comments to his advantage. And that is what I call a great determination. The first time I ever came into contact with this game was when I was probably around 9, a month from turning 9 at least. On the weekends, my friend would give me a call and I would go over to his house so we could just hang around and play games. This time around, however, I would be exposed to a game that I wouldn't have even imagined I'd be as passionate about as I am today. I remember so vividly, as if it were just yesterday, running over to my friend's house, sitting on the couch, and we would boot up his iPad so we could watch people like Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, and then be as immersed into our childhoods as children do. You know, I was never really into horror games at all, and even to this day I'm still not a huge fan of the horror genre at all. So how I came to love FNAF, I have no clue. But there's just something about the game that makes me feel excitement. Listening to the theories that other people make about its absolutely complex and incomplete lore. Watching the fan games that other people have made. Games like Five Nights at Candy's or The Joy of Creation. And now they even have a movie coming out after like 9 years. Listening to the music that people made about the game. Creators like JT Machinima or The Living Tombstone. I think it's also the fact of how simple yet intuitive the playstyle of the game is. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You're sitting in an office, unmovable. You have to keep all the monsters at bay and survive until a certain chime goes off that you've completed the night. A great formula for a great game. And that's what really changed my perspective of gaming. Just the instance of how different it was from other games that I played before. Something unique or authentic. This made me love video games even more than I initially had. It also changed my perspective of the horror genre as a result, showing me that horror games can actually be fun, even though I still can't sit through the game of Pacify It without pissing my pissing my pants and screaming like an 8-year-old. There's just something so authentic about FNAF in general that I can't even describe. I guess to describe it as best as I can, it's just a flat out fun game. It's not a grindy game like Minecraft. It doesn't have a leveling up system. It just has one purpose, and one purpose alone: to beat the game. But Scotty, that's like every other game ever. No, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. But I think what separates FNAF from the other games is that beating the game is the only goal to it. And what I mean by that is that it's not like the other ones that I've described, where you have to build yourself up over time and defeat a million other sub-bosses to get to the main boss. It's not complex, it's not too much to handle as far as the gameplay is concerned. It's a simple game with one goal in mind: to beat it. I just have to admire FNAF while it was at its peak. And whenever I think about it, the atmosphere in my mind changes. Certain thoughts resonate within it, and I just feel a warm, nostalgic feeling. I mean, this game was such a huge part of my childhood that resided with me over the 9 years it's been out. So every now and then, I find myself reminiscing on those times whenever I'm reminded of the game. This will probably be the hottest take of all time, but FNAF was peak fiction, and that is a hill that I'm willing to die on. A hill that I'm not willing to die on, however, is how absolutely fucking degenerate the community has become. Even if you're not a fan of the game, or just know the game solely by the degenerate side of the fanbase, which is a wide majority of it, then you know how utterly disgusting it has become over the years. I mean, do I have to spell it out for you? What the fuck is this? What is that? What? Someone's got some explaining to do, because I have no clue what the hell that is supposed to be. The majority of the fanbase is either a furry porn artist or a grody cosplayer with he/him in their Twitter bio. Well, they also just make the game their entire personality. And I can guarantee you, all they talk about on Twitter is the fucking patriarchy, dude. I mean, I know it's a good fucking game, don't get me wrong, but don't revolve your entire personality around the game. And especially don't make shit like this, please. For the sake of everyone else that enjoys the game, please don't. I think a large part of what made FNAF start to decline a little is the fan base. I know that there are other aspects about FNAF's recent history that kind of contribute, but I think the fan base is the stronghold of it all. I mean, it's kind of like with the Minecraft community. It's a good game, but over time, the fanbase just progressively gets worse with all the dream sexuals and Tommy in it stands and other shit. And just like FNAF, it ruins it for the people who just genuinely enjoy it. In the middle of writing this video, I decided to, for the first time in eons, open FNAF 1 back up. The original game. I never realized up until this point how scary the overall game is. Even the main menu itself is so ominous. I mean, my game was probably really loud considering there's no settings menu in this ancient ass game. But even then, it sent chills down my spine for the first time in a while. The static ambience of the menu as well as the haunting music, while a distorted image of Freddy himself stares you down. I never really realized all of those details before, nor have I ever really paid attention to the beauty of it. Then I dove into the game, watching the gang on stage through the cams, listening to their footsteps as they streak through the halls, the various noises of pots and pans on cam 6. I just enjoy the amount of detail that went into this game. Details that I never really acknowledged until now. I know that I'm probably being way too sentimental about this game, but something about this well put together sequence of code really pulls on my heartstrings in a nostalgic way. I just wish I could go back to a time just like that. The more I write the script for this video, the more I realize I don't really know what point I'm trying to get across. I wasn't always the best at conveying my emotions with words, as you could probably tell. But I hope you understand what I'm trying to get out of all this. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I miss when the game was still new, not overtaken by a weird community or with mounds and mounds of controversy surrounding the creator or other stuff revolving around the community, but a time where the game was just an innocent attempt at success. It wasn't an overly complicated jumble of different theories, just a straightforward game to enjoy, and to get the adrenaline flowing. Another game to play and enjoy. I want to go back to a time like that. This is a game that I respect wholeheartedly, and that's why I'm giving my salute to it. My name is Scotty, and this is my salute to what I think is one of the best horror games in the entire world. Five Nights at Freddy's.